Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlicker, shills, debt slaves, serfs, peasants, vassals, minions, meat sacks. I'm usefully welcome. And here we are. So we're on the verge of Trump's promise for mass deportations. And once again, as I often say, hypocrisy is the coin of the realm in Washington, D.C. And here we are again. Because as history has shown us, partisanship and its selective outrage and its lack of memory, but mostly partisan loyalty creates situations like this. And what I'm driving at is the fact that during the Obama administration, Obama was called the deporter in chief by insiders and had historic level mass deportations for 8 years. And in fact, Obama deported more people in his 8 years as president than all the other presidents of the 20th century put together. And just like Obama, he started out, just like Trump is promising, Obama initially went after the criminal elements and he deported over 3 million people. And just like Trump promises, Obama had a stay in Mexico policy, which means that everybody stayed on that side of the border until they were processed. So none of this is anything new. And then we also have videos that have surfaced recently of Nancy Pelosi in 2005 talking about mass deportations of migrants, and her policy seemed even more hardline than what Trump is talking about now. And the same thing with Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton was not only talking about mass deportations, but she was talking about those who stayed paying massive fines, paying a bunch of back taxes, and learning to speak English. So she out MAGAs Trump on deportation issues until now. So it becomes a political issue. And we also have we have Nancy Pelosi. We also have Bill Clinton in the 90s, and his migrant policy was also very hardcore, and he was very vocal about it and got nothing but liberal support for it. And today we also, the reality is, of course, something like 60 to 70% of Americans support this policy of mass deportations, particularly with this crime wave. But we still have this hardcore liberal base that it just seems to be outraged and just thinks the worst about these deportations. And of course, these mass deportations wouldn't be so crucial. It wouldn't be so large if we hadn't had an open border under Biden for the last 4 years. So they've created this problem. But like I say, under Obama, between 2009 and 2015, 3 million people were deported, and that's not including those people that were turned away at the border. So these are huge numbers. And during the Obama administration, initially they went after the criminal elements and were somewhat successful in that. But they ended up doing the same thing that people are afraid that Trump's going to do now, which is breaking up family and going after migrants who have a little more legitimate argument for staying in the United States. We call that mission creep. And so once that Pandora's box is open, then under the Obama administration, a lot of migrants were deported for all sorts of reasons. And so my point being that here we are, a large sector of the liberal base is completely outraged by Trump's mass deportation programs, and yet they were utterly and completely silent for 8 years under Bush. Under under Obama, and that's just how it goes with partisanship and selective outrage. And so it's just really disgusting to see that partisanship and just having tunnel vision when your guy's in the office, and then scrutinizing every detail when the other guys are in the office. And the gyrations that are going on right now are really interesting. There are states like Colorado and Maryland and New York and California that are giving a lot of pushback and saying they're not going to comply with these deportation plans. But the fact is, the sanctuary cities have been around since the 80s. They only became a big deal and a political hot point during the Trump years. And once again, it bolsters what I say about tunnel vision and partisanship and selective outrage. But the dynamics that are going on are really interesting because, of course, the New York governor is giving pushback to the deportation program, but Mayor Adams in New York City is coming around. The new report came out that there's something like 60 to 70,000 known convicted criminal migrants in New York City, and all these hotels that are being rented out to these migrants, and just the sheer cost, and then the spike of violence that's going on in New York City. It's no surprise that Mayor Adams would wake up and get on the bandwagon. So now he's seeing the light, and he's apparently going to support the deportation program. And it would seem like Chicago would see the light as well, particularly with the uprising of the citizenship there, seeing how migrants are being treated and how their crime rates are going up. And it seems like every mayor in the country, and probably behind closed doors and out of view, I would imagine a lot of them do support this because it's really bloating their expenditures. Supposedly, a new report came out and said that so far the migrant problem has cost the United States $161 billion, and no surprise with, but that number is probably very low because I would imagine if you factor in all the increased expenses for the border agents and ICE and all the expenditures of direct flights from all over Latin America to the United States, all the extra expenditures for school systems and food stamps and Medicare and unemployment and all the bennies that are being handed out, I would imagine that $161 billion is a very, very low number. And for those outraged about how much Trump is expected to pay for this mass deportation program, that's a small fraction of what is being paid now to sustain supporting all the illegal migrants in the United States right now. So um, I think I think this is going to be a welcome change for the most part. I think most people see this spike in crime and they don't want it. They don't want to see migrants getting all kinds of benefits that are denied to a lot of Americans, and all the money that's spent. They just cross the border and all of a sudden they're on Easy Street in some ways and on a gravy train. And half the people deported had no criminal record under Obama, so we are going to see some of the same things here. But that's my main point, is that this this selective outrage from the liberal base about mass deportations when they were utterly and completely silent during the Obama years. So it's okay then, and they all cheered it on when Nancy Pelosi and Bill Clinton and Obama all spoke in even harsher terms than Trump about the migrant population. But here we are now, and they're completely outraged. So, so there we have it. That's the way it always goes. It's one of the most disgusting aspects of partisanship, giving this blind eye when their party's in power, and then being completely outraged when the other party's in power. And this happens time and time again because a lot of the basic policies of the elites in our government barely change from administration to administration. Just the label, Democrat or Republican, does, and that makes all the difference to the bewildered herd. I'm a useful idiot, don't you be one too?